Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a follow-up review for you on these two guys right here. This is the Grimsmo knives, Norseman up top and the Rask on the bottom here. And I figured it's been a little while since I talked about these guys, and there's a change coming up here, and so I figured I would go on ahead and make a little video about it. So last time I discussed these two explicitly was in my Norseman versus my Rask review, the full review on it, in which I said at the end of the review that although the Rask is an incredible everyday carry choice, and it is, and although the Rask is a gem, both of these knives are gems, uncontroversially. For me, at least, the Norseman was a knife that I liked a little bit more because it was a little bit more unique. That's absolutely true. The Norseman is more unique in terms of blade shape. There is nothing else out there that looks like this. In terms of the size, in terms of the mechanical excellence, the Norseman exceeds the Rask by a very small margin. And in fact, the Norseman is in the absolute top tier of excellent actions out there. There are very few knives that can compete. Knives like the Koenig Arius, the North Arm Skaha, very, very few. Some of the Thorburn stuff there are very few knives that can compete in action with either one of these guys. Frankly, the Rask and the Norseman are strong competition against each other. But anyways, so I said at the time that I think I recommend the Norseman more than the Rask because it's a little bit more unique. But the thing is, in the time since, well, these guys have both been in my collection, in my drawer, and on days when I can afford to carry something that I want to carry, rather than something that's in my pocket for review, this guy at the moment, the winner has actually ended up always being the Rask. The reason for that is relatively simple, and a lot of people are going to be in the comments, oh, Nick, we fucking told you so, come on, man. But ultimately, for me, the Rask is a little bit more practical, and that's in a couple of different ways. It's less heavy, 100%. Well, no, it's not 100% less heavy. That would be a very different thing. But no, it is less heavy than the Norseman. It is a slightly more practical blade shape with some flat, some belly, etc. It is also a very attractive knife. It is also a very mechanically excellent knife. This is an absolutely wonderful piece here. And for a lot of the cutting I do, this is just frankly a better shape. And so ultimately, if I've got the choice between the two and I actually need a cutting tool, the Rask has been winning out over the Norseman every time. And when I'm looking for something that is big and excellent and artistic, the Norseman actually has competition now. Sometime back, I picked this little guy up. This is the Alamic Swish pocket knife, but it's got this beautiful engraving on there. And that is big and artistic and jackassy, and I freaking love it. And so on days when I'm looking to carry big, artistic, and jackassy that is also mechanically excellent, this fits the bill as well. And this guy's been finding his way into my pocket even more so. And so the Norseman, although I love this knife, although it is absolutely and uncontroversially a gem, has turned into a safe queen. And for me, that's a dangerous territory to be in, because a knife that you're not carrying on a regular basis, although it may bring you joy every time you flip it, for me at least, in my style of collecting, that really can't stick around. This is partly just as a constraint on myself, because it would be very easy in my position to buy every knife that I love and hold on to it forever and ever and ever, so I'd just have drawer after drawer of really expensive high-end pieces, etc. And, you know, that's fine, but I can't afford to freaking do that. And so that's one issue, and frankly, I also like to at least pretend that I'm a fan of function in pocket knives, and, well, here the function does seem to be winning out in my carry patterns. And so ultimately, I'm in this state where, although I had said originally that I think I prefer the Norseman because it's a little bit more unique, my actions is saying that I prefer the Rask because it's just as mechanically excellent, but functions maybe a little bit better as an everyday carry pocket knife. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm after. And so I am in this position where I'm suddenly realizing, wait a second, I'm not carrying the Norseman. That's put me in a little bit of an awkward spot. The other major factor at play here is a reviewer, and I may be thinking about this as, well, I'm certainly overthinking this, but look, they did a huge price bump on both of these guys. I talk more in nuance about it in my Nick's take on price increases, where I talk about some other companies too. But basically, they saw that these knives were being sold for huge prices on the secondary market and thought, well, if other people are making money off our knives, we might as well be too. And so this went from when I originally with a $555 to $925 knife. And I don't know what the Rask has gone up to, but I suspect it's a similar huge hike. And as a result, these knives have changed markedly. I still think they're gems, and if you walk around the, say, Blade Show with one of these guys in your pocket and you test it out against some of the other knives that are being sold for $1,000, you're going to be very hard pressed to find something that is better in terms of mechanical perfection, in terms of action, etc. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy it even at that higher price, but it makes it harder to recommend. That is serious high-end knife money, and that really diminishes the pool of people to whom I'd recommend it. At 600, it was like, holy crap, this is value. But once you get further up there, it's a little. And so, as a knife reviewer, even these become slightly harder. It's like, okay, well, you can't quite bust it out every time you want to talk about a high-end value sort of thing that you should always pick up. This has gone from, yes, you should buy one, to, well, you should consider it. It's a very, very nice piece, and that is a key difference here. But ultimately, between the Norseman becoming a safe queen as a result of, well, other knives coming into my collection, and just, I don't know if it's my taste shifting or just my practicality winning out, and with this price hike making them a little bit harder to recommend and to use as sort of a paragon of this is what a really good value in a custom knife can look like, the Norseman, I don't think, is going to stick around. And in fact, I know it's not going to stick around. As soon as I finished filming this video, I am going to package it up, and I'm actually going to send it to a buddy of mine. This is a longtime fan and a longtime viewer and a patron of mine. And, I at some time back had posted about maybe selling it on Patreon. And then I backed off, just like, okay, am I really going to do this? And then finally, he basically made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And at the end of the day, I am just a jackass. And I'm a jackass with a honeymoon coming up. I'm a jackass with a whole bunch of things going on. And so when it comes down to it, if a fan wants to pay good money for the knife, and I know it's going to go to a good home where it's loved, there's nothing keeping this guy around anymore. And so I want to be very, very clear about one thing. This is still a great knife. And everybody, when I sell something that I've recommended very highly, and there are very few knives I've recommended as highly as this one, it's like, well, were you lying to us, Nick? Are you full of crap? Are you... Blah, blah, blah? No, in no way, shape, or freaking form am I lying to you about that. It's still an incredible piece, and even at the price, it's still a damn great knife. But ultimately, it's a damn great knife that I'm finding myself not carrying, and so ultimately, it's not a damn great knife that can stick around. So for me, at least, the Rask has won this round. A surprise, but it's the kind of surprise that I felt like I should probably update you guys about. And that way, so when I, if I do a future collection update and you don't see this guy around, you're like, oh my God! And that way I can point people. But anyways, I am still very interested in seeing what's next out of the Grimsmos. 100%. I'm hoping desperately that they're going to get around to that 3-inch integral button lock knife that they've talked about a couple of times, because holy crap do I want that. Or anything else on the smaller side, because the Rask is still a little bit big for my taste. That said, I think it'll be being compared to the Rask rather than the Norseman in the future. So, although it is certainly a bittersweet moment to think about packing this guy up, because in some ways it was a watershed moment for my my knife collecting, and this is absolutely a paragon of what high-end knife making can be, so is this guy. And so at the end of the day, this will go to somebody who loves it. I'll have a slightly nicer honeymoon as a result. And, well, there you go. Hope this has been interesting to you, and have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.